What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Speak the Language podcast. I'm not going to take a super long time on the intro just because I'm excited about the topic. This is the first turkey hunting related podcast of the 2020 year. So, I'm sitting here with Troy. From now, deer season officially over. It is February the 3rd.
But do you ever quit thinking about turkey hunting?
I don't.
I can tell you how everybody else is thinking about it. Just the other day, I was sitting at the house, and you saw the post, because I think you said something on a couple of them on Facebook. I just started posting a bunch of stuff with turkeys' pictures and over-the-shoulder stills from our video, and just started throwing a bunch of stuff out there, and people were like, man, quit it, you're driving me nuts, blah, blah, blah. And just like today at lunch, I go to see a friend I hadn't seen all deer season. Now, I've talked to him on text and just about deer hunting. But I walked up to him, and the first thing he says was, "You ready to go turkey hunting?"
Yeah.
And deer season had been closed 3 days.
Yeah. Well, so I'm like you. Like, I think I never really stopped thinking about turkey season, but you hit this point in the year where the rest of society grants it okay for you to start talking about it again. So, like, up until now, I just kind of keep these thoughts to myself.
Yeah. After 4th of July, it's okay to start thinking about dove season. Yeah. It's kind of like turkey season. Except if it's 110 degrees.
So I got a plan. Kind of. So next week, especially because next week we'll be getting ready to go to NWTF. So next week, obviously, will be another turkey episode. I want to talk about, Grant, it always happens this time of year. We get a lot of, gear-related questions. So just kind of preview for next week. Next week, we're going to go pretty hard on turkey gear. Yeah. Like stuff that we use and then some new stuff that we got for this spring. But this week, I want to just kind of bringing it back. I want to bring the focus back to the spring turkey. And it may be February the 3rd, and we may still be, some places are still 2 months away, but it's officially time to start thinking about turkeys. I'm
trying to figure out a way to get on that plane with Will Lawrence and his daddy. They going to Hawaii, go turkey hunting. Yeah.
When you do that, you March?
Yeah, about the same time you do Florida, somewhere around that world.
I've known people to do it, but
I've had some good friends that went. I said it's you hunt Rio Grandes. They're transplanted turkeys from Texas and Oklahoma, I think, in the NWTF, and a lot of people did a lot of work to get those birds over there, and they say it's pretty neat hunting them in that lava rock. It's pretty incredible.
I've seen videos from it. I've talked to people that have gone. It's definitely on the list of places I would like to go. I mean, it's Hawaii. Who wouldn't want to shoot a turkey in Hawaii?
Well, I'm telling you how you do that, man. I know you're not married yet, but you go ahead and talk to your daddy into taking your mama to Hawaii. You just kind of slip right on in there. You be the middleman that puts the whole trip together, but somehow in there you add a little turkey hunting in on it. Yeah. And your mama can sit on the beach and drink mint tulips, and you can yelp
to a turkey.
Sure.
I mean, that's what I mean. It would be hard, knowing that it's like that over there. It would be hard for me to go over there and not try to turkey hunt. You know what I mean?
Well, and that's true. And it's the thing that's amazing to me. And you hit on it just a second ago. The NWTF convention is coming up next week, and we'll all be there. And that's kind of like the kickoff to turkey season. But with organizations like them and DU and Delta Waterfowl and all these organizations and volunteers that put the sweat and tears and hard work into getting turkeys to Hawaii. Now, who would ever dreamed, let's go put some turkeys in Hawaii and see how they do? Yeah. And they did great. Yeah. And actually, there's some great hunting in Hawaii a lot of people don't know about.
Well, that's it. There's several stuff, because it's funny you should say that. It was honestly before I knew about the turkey hunting over there. My family just kind of softly approached the subject of trying to go on a vacation to Hawaii. This when I was younger, and I was like, they got some kind of axis deer over there you can bow hunt. But they shot me down on that pretty quick.
Good hog hunting. There's a lot of good hunting.
They got upland hunting over there.
That's right. Good bird hunting. And then you go fishing. Then you sit on the beach and chill out.
Yeah, you do. That's pretty much, from what I understand, all the turkeys in the turkey population in California got transplanted to Rios too. I think I'm correct on that.
It is. Yep. Yeah, I've been blessed to kill a couple of them in California.
I remember that. I remember that one video with you and Chris Ashley.
Me and Chris, yeah. In almond orchards. And I didn't know there were that many flavors of almonds when they get done with them. But that guy sent us home with a case of almonds, and I ate almonds until I started sprouting almonds out of my ears. Man, it was incredible. But fun hunting up there. Same thing. Organizations like NWTF and volunteers coming together, and with landowners saying, "Hey, we would love to try this project on our place." And now there's goodness gracious, I can't remember the number of states, but you can hunt turkeys just about in every state of the United States.
Yeah, you sure can. It's funny You were talking about earlier about you seeing your friend in the restaurant and saying you're thinking about turkey hunting. I had more than one person send me a Snapchat this morning, and like one of them was like a picture of a sunrise, and it said I would gobble, and the other one was like anyone listening? Anyone thought about going listening yet?
Your mindset changes. It really does.
The official shift.
It used to shift the fishing for me way back when I was really young and started turkey hunting. Mm-hmm. I guess I really started turkey hunting when I was about 12. My daddy didn't turkey hunt, and we were in a hunting club in Alabama, and there was a elderly black man that hunted with us. He actually he PK'd our dogs is what we called it. He was a dog man.
Gotcha.
His name was Slim, and punched the name Slim. He was tall and thin.
Right.
But turkey hunted in the spring, and nobody in that club that we hunted in, it's just a bunch of Cajuns from down home in Louisiana. They were all commercial fishermen just like us. And springtime, you had your boat on the shipyard, and you were getting everything ready to get ready for trawling season in May.
Right.
And I came up to the hunting camp to do some fishing and got invited to go turkey hunting.
Yeah.
And I was like, turkey hunting? I did it once before with a friend of my dad's, and it was like down in St. Tammany Parish, Louisiana, where there really wasn't any turkeys.
Yeah,
and if there were some, they came and walked out in the pasture, and you shot them with a rifle.
Yeah.
That was turkey introduction 1 to me, and I was like, I don't know about all this.
Yeah, not the same thing.
Yeah,
really.
and this man introduced me to it, and then back in those days was when, Wilbur started The Truth About Hunting, and you had all these people that were jumping on board, Ben Rogers Lee, and then, man, that bit me like bad. And I learned the old way of turkey hunting. Sit down, yell 2 times on the box, put the box down,
stay
and
quiet.
Don't move. Yeah. And to this day, still try to do that sometimes because I can't get around like I used to. But that's where my introduction of it came from a man from Alabama who you would never, if you looked at him today, you would think, I wonder if he's got any land I can turkey hunt on, rather than saying, I wonder if he'll go turkey hunting with me, or if I can go turkey hunting with him. So, and it bit me bad. It really did. And I think that came from me from the duck calling world, growing up duck hunting and calling ducks and knowing how to use duck calls. And because the mouth call to me wasn't intimidating. I picked up on it right away, and I thought I could do this. I heard the first person I ever heard do it was Ben Rogers Lee. Then it was Preston Pittman. And when I heard it for the very first time, I was like, I got to figure that out, and I think I can, and I did, and I figured it out in such a way that it became fun, but it also became a thing for me that I wanted to master it.
Yeah.
And
do you remember what was the first one you tried to blow? You remember what it was?
I think it was a perfection call way back when, but I do know it had lead frames. It was made out of lead frames, the old lead frames.
I remember you talked to me about that before.
It was old lead frames, and the first thing I did was try to figure out how to yelp on it. It was too big for my mouth because I was a kid, so I took it all apart and looked at it, and I got a Dixie beer can and made my own frame, and took that latex, which back in those days wasn't latex. Well, it was condoms. Took them out of there and made it myself, and it didn't sound great. But I made it to where it could fit in my mouth and I could learn it.
You could make some kind of turkey sound.
Yeah, and then after that I started yelping on a couple other calls, and then Preston Pittman, one of his calls that I really started yelping on back in the day. And it's amazing at how that whole industry that we're in now, and how the mouth calls and where they're made, and people are trying different things. Because back in the day, we didn't try a whole lot.
Yeah.
We didn't try a lot of cuts, didn't try a lot of different combinations of reeds versus latex versus condoms and versus prophylactic or whatever. But
there probably wasn't that many, not that many people knew about that. It was just like you blow this reed, and you make a turkey sound.
You had Danny Golvis, who was really, really good back in those days. You had Preston Pittman. You had Troy Wheat. You had Ben Rogers Lee. You had Will, who was coming on underneath all of them in the which he started in the 70s and really got going good, strong in the 80s. And now, man, it's
there's a lot.
Oh, friction calls to mouth calls. The whole pot call world, and you would attest to this too. You get to the NWTF convention, and you've never seen so many different types and styles and makes of glass or slate calls when we say pot calls, and it's amazing how many people get into building those things, and they're fun to build, and you can make the sound that you like and like what you want to hear.
Well, like we were, not that I thought I was any sort of mouth call expert, but just working up here and being around mouth calls as much as I did.
You were a great caller. You just needed the right call.
That took a lot of help from you.
Well, but you knew you got that musical ear, and a lot of people don't have because you're an artist. You can play a guitar, you play the drums, you can sing, you played in the church, so you have that tone and that ear. And some people don't, and they never get that tone and that rhythm, and you got it.
I appreciate
you just needed the right call.
I appreciate that. Well,
don't tell Will it ain't one of his calls.
in finding that right call, I figured, I was like, especially because this wasn't that long ago. This was like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, as far as styles of cuts in a mouth call, I thought I pretty much knew what was out there. And we were in Florida a few years ago, and this guy came up to me and he was like, "Hey man, he wanted some help blowing a call, or like that you mean that he said, can I kind of tell me what I'm doing, kind of help me?" I'm like, yeah. He pulled this mouth call out, and I was like, what in the world is that?
Looked like you got hit with a weed eater.
I didn't know. I'd never seen anything like that before.
Yeah.
He's called it like they called it like a pineapple cut or something. I was like, what is that? He sounded good with it. I just had never. I didn't
got
even
3
know,
points in it.
Didn't even know it existed. I was like, okay, fair enough, pineapple cut.
Well, a turkey mouth call is no different than a saxophone or a clarinet. I think we've talked about all this in the past. It's a reeded instrument, and to be able to get that air across that reed, everybody's mouth shape's different. Everybody's different on the way they would try to yelp. And even if you played clarinets or saxophone, I had a friend of mine in high school that I went to school with. He was an incredible saxophone player, and he would get different sounds based on the reeds that he used.
Yeah.
And he had bamboo reeds, he had mylar reeds, he had plastic reeds, he had all kind of different reeds to get different sounds. And as I grew older and got into this business, coming from the duck call world, growing up as a kid, I realized, man, it's amazing what you can do with the turkey call based on the reed itself, because that is where the sound's coming from. It's all about vibration and air control and airflow. And once you get that air control and understand it and have somebody that can work with you, if you're fortunate enough to have somebody work with you with a call and look at you and listen to you and tell what you're doing and say, I know it'll probably get you to the next level, and then we'll go from there.
Right.
And it's hard for the consumer to do that because they're buying a call off the shelf. But in today's world, too, and the way we're building calls is a lot of that guesswork has went out of the window now.
Yeah.
And we know kind of what makes everybody sound close to really, really good, and making them feel like they got confidence in the calls that they're using.
What I tell people normally, like if you want to get, if you're serious about wanting to get better at just a mouth call, I say go and find, because even us, we have it where it's not like we'll have kind of a, what would you call it? I guess like a different lines of mouth calls. And so you can find one they're not the most, they're on the cheaper end, but they still have the different types of cuts. Right. So I say go get a bunch of those cheaper kinds with the different types of cuts, and just you figure it out.
Play with them and find which one's close and gives you the ease of knowing that I can make this call do a few things that I want it to do, and then find the next step up with the same cut in it. It may have a little bit of a different stretch, or different, whether it's prophylactic or latex, it may be made a little bit different, but the same cut for you, because that's all about airflow and where that air is coming across them reeds. Yeah,
because how many times, like NWTF, I'm sure it happens a lot. How many times you had somebody come up to you and say, "What call are you blowing? I'm trying to sound like you." And I'm like, you might, but this style call that I'm blowing might not work for you.
No, that's true. And case in point is Will Primos.
Yeah.
You can take 10 calls and lay them on his desk, and we've all done this before in the past, especially when back in the mid to late 90s, early 2000s actually, when we were doing the signature series of calls.
Yeah.
And everybody had a call, and we built a call to fit everybody and their need, and to be able to sound the way they want to sound with confidence. And you'd put 10 calls out there for Wilbur, and you could yelp on all 10 calls and sound pretty much different on every one, but you'd give him to Will, and he sound the same on every one of them. And then he'd look at you and go, you just don't call right. Everybody's different in the way Wilbur yelps. I'm not saying Wilbur's don't work, because he's killed a running ton of turkeys.
Oh, yeah.
And it doesn't matter what it sounds like to you or me. It matters what it sounds like to that turkey. But you got to have confidence in it.
The first time, like the first spring I was working for Primos, I was with Will in Missouri. And I
remember that.
We were walking around the afternoon kind of prospecting, and he had some mouth calls that he'd been tooling with. And he said, I'm going to blow on both of these. You tell me which one sounds better. And he went to blow, and he said, which one is it? I said, honestly, and I did not know Will, well. Like I said, this is early. Yeah. I said, honestly, Mr. Will, they sound kind of the same. And you sound like everybody else.
It's true. And he used to hate it when we'd go sit in the office and we'd go through, every week pretty much every day, but sometimes 3 times a week, we'd go do that in his office, and we'd sit down, me, him, Jeremy, and Chris, and we'd go through all the new calls or the batch that was built that week to make sure the specs were still right.
Right.
And he would just sit there and go, you just, how do you sound different on this call, And I said, he said, you're just not yelping right. And I said, okay, well.
Sure. Sure. Oh, gosh.
But you made a comment earlier about, getting ready and next year, the gear and stuff like that. For me, people always ask me, what do you do to get ready for turkey season? And for me, it's just going through the motions of trying to find all my stuff.
Yeah. It's a lot, especially when you've been deer hunting a while.
Yeah,
you got to take, it's like you have to take deer season, you have to pack it away.
Yeah.
And then you have to unpack turkey hunting. Physically
right.
And mentally. You got to start getting your mind right.
I got home the other night, after I left y'all last Friday night, y'all were still hunting for a couple of days down at Roseland, and I got home and unloaded all my stuff in the garage, and the next morning Belinda woke up, she says, did you come back from a garage sale or something? What is all that? I said, that's all my stuff that's been at Cottonmouth.
That's my life for the past, yeah. That's it. The guest bedroom in my house right now is a disaster area because we had such a quick turnaround. I just kind of went, whoa, and just threw it in there. It's bad. I got to deal with it.
I'm excited for turkey season. I'm excited for this season.
Very much
for the plan that we have already in place and some of the things that we're going to do different. Not that we're going to hunt them different. We're just going to spend a little bit more time. Last year was a tough year, as was deer season this year. But what I'm excited about is some of the states we're going to, some of the places we're going to, and the friends that we're going to see. But how we're going to kind of stretch this into not only TV, but some really good, fresh social media stuff that's going to be fun.
And we'll talk about that more.
Yeah.
We can talk about that more in great detail as we get closer to it. Like I said, this is kind of like a general bring it back to turkeys episode.
I'm trying to remember last year. Was it February 10th? It was some morning you went out and listened, and you told me the date.
I'm trying to remember.
Was it after NWTF or before?
I want to say it was after, but it was like right after.
Yeah.
Because it was early. I was fired up because I heard a turkey.
Yeah.
And I was like, it was kind of like one of those things that wasn't far from the house, and the weather actually looked decent. And I was like, you know what? If I don't hear a turkey, what's it going to hurt?
That's
so
right.
I just went out there, and he was gobbling. I was like, oh, God.
Like somebody giving you tickets to the movie theater. Oh, I got movie tickets.
I heard one.
And then the first thing you do is you ride home in your truck and you get a phone call from your friend. He's like, hey, man, where you been? Just woke up.
Yeah.
You don't tell nobody you heard a turkey.
No, you don't.
Turkey's gobbling already? Really? That's crazy.
Yeah. No, I said stick to the outdoor channel. You can hear them all you want.
I'm fired up about it. It happens so fast, and turkey season's kind of like elk season for us.
It really is.
Yeah, if it was a 3-month season like deer season, it would kill us, literally.
True.
And thank God in deer season, we kind of space it out a little bit. It's a busy time of the year, but turkey season can be haunting. One of the things that I do to prepare for turkey season is from now till turkey season, I try to get as much sleep as I can.
Yeah.
And knowing that turkey season, it's kind of like deer season. At Cottonmouth, we made the little implement. We set forth an implement of not spending a lot of time hunting in the mornings until late season.
Right.
But turkey season, you don't just not say I'm not getting up tomorrow morning.
No.
You might not go that afternoon, but you going in the morning.
No, that's what I was talking to somebody about that today. And I was like, look, man, because, again, at the Primos office right now, everyone's already starting to talk about turkeys. And so we were talking about it, and he's saying something about, and I can't remember what he said, but I was like, man, I'm going to be honest with you. If I'm home and it's turkey season, like, I'm going hunting somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's raining. I don't care if I'm sick. I don't care if the spot I got is 20 acres and it's a clear cut. I'm going
Even if
turkey
you just
hunting.
drive up in the truck, roll the window down and listen, roll the window back up and go to work.
To some extent, I will be trying to hunt a turkey.
Yeah.
I just can't not do it. That whole, what's the quote? I think it was Redbeard said, he called it a disease. It's like I can't. I can't not go. What do you want me to do? Stay at the house, wake up, think about all the turkeys I missed out on? Ain't gonna happen.
Or knowing that they gobbling where you,
Yeah.
To me, it's I don't know. I tell people all the time, you have folks ask all the time, man, especially first-time hunters, all right, I'm just getting into this. And actually had a couple of people do that last year at the NWTF. There was a lady and her husband, and she was the one that was fired up on it, like super fired up. And money was not an object to her when it came to what she needed, what she had to buy. So I kind of got her the basics, got her set up, and the husband's just sitting there forking out $20 bills like candy at the show.
Here you go.
So lo and behold, in April, they sent me an email because I gave them my email address and all my information. I want to know what you're doing. And they're from Tennessee, and she killed her first turkey.
And well, it's a good spot to be if you're trying to get into it.
Just reading that email was like, it was a documentary.
Yeah.
I mean, you literally, I'm sitting there thinking, how can I go with this now? How can I take this and put it on video and share it with somebody? It was that good.
Yeah.
Just envisioning what she was hearing and seeing, and coming from somebody that's never done it before. And for me and you and everybody else that's turkey hunted a lot, I've learned to do this a little bit more now that I've gotten older. I slow down a lot, but I pay attention to a lot of the other things. Mm-hmm. And she was soaking everything in, every bird, and not just the turkey. She heard everything, she saw everything, and she smelled everything. And to me, that's the thing about turkey hunting. If you miss that, you've missed the true journey. And if you go after the destination, then you'll never like it. You'll be like some of those people that go out there that don't turkey hunt and tell you, every turkey hunt's the same. They all look the same.
Yeah.
I have never been on one turkey hunt that was just like the other.
No, I've never tangled with one turkey that acted just like the
That's
other.
why they got names.
Well,
some of them we can't mention.
That's part That's part of why I like taking new people as much as I can, because I like watching them experience that. You know. And
you live vicariously through them.
Oh, for sure.
And there's things that they'll pick up on that you'll miss because we'll walk right by it.
Oh yeah. You were talking earlier about, your introduction to turkey hunting.
Mm-hmm.
This is a story that I haven't told a lot, not for any other reason. Like, I've told the story about killing my first turkey with Keith several times, but when I tell that story, sometimes I won't say I always leave it in there, but I say that I turkey hunted pretty much a full season before I met Keith, and he got me that first turkey. That whole first season was me just trying to figure it out the best I could at a very, very young age, So when I say trying to figure it out, I mean I'm like an 11-year-old kid that's addicted to turkey hunting videos. And so there was a family, you've met them, the Mahaffeys.
Oh, yeah.
So still very dear friends of mine. There was Daniel, who was my age, and there was David. David was younger than us, and then there was Uncle Robbie. And that's where I was at their place when I heard the first time I ever heard a turkey gobble was standing at their farm. And that whole day, we didn't kill a turkey that day, because I can't tell you how many, just that day included, I can't tell you how many days Uncle Robbie toted myself and his two sons into the woods. That's 4 people, 1 adult, 2 kids under the age of 15.
Turkey hunting.
Turkey hunting.
Fishing's bad enough. You taking them turkey hunting?
You want to talk about some patience?
Yeah.
I was talking to David the other day. We were talking about that. I said, "How did your dad ever put up with us?"
He should have put y'all turkey vests on backwards and strapped y'all to the tree.
I can remember one morning, because he had to have known, the chances of us killing something were so slim, because us 3 knuckleheads. But the challenge
was worth the reward to him. And we all need to look at it that way.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I'm saying. That's why I look. Those are some of my favorite times. It really is.
That's what I was just telling my buddy at the restaurant I was talking to. He's got a little girl named Lily. Well, she's killed some turkeys before, but you talk about a little girl eat up with it.
She
absolutely eat up with it, and is a good little hunter too. And if you do something that she thinks ain't right, she'll let you know about it.
I remember this one like it was yesterday. It was spring break, and all of us were fired up because we had more days to hunt than just Saturday, because that's usually what we had. We usually would either have all day Saturday, and we maybe could squeeze in a quick hunt on Sunday before we got back to church. And it was like the first hunt of that morning, and it was breaking day. There was turkeys gobbling, and it was Uncle Robbie, and then we were all in a line, sat down on those trees. Me, Daniel, David. We all had turkey vests. We all had them pockets stuffed with so many turkey calls. I remember that was when, what slate was it? I had
one we had here.
Yeah.
Power Crystal.
Yes. And Uncle Robbie goes, "All right." He said, he's whispering, but he says, "All right, I know y'all all want to call. Get it out of your system." So we.
Y'all sounded like a flock of seagulls coming out of them woods.
And that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, Uncle, man, I mean, that's me, and that's why I look back at it, and I have such fond memories of that, because, I mean, Uncle Robbie could have been like, you know what, I'm going to take these kids one day, and then I'm going to go myself, and I'm going to try to kill a turkey. But no, he hauled us down there more times than I can count.
Well worth it to him. That's not being selfish.
Now, that's the definition of selflessness. The funny, or one of the funnier stories, it's funny now, was not funny then. Because despite the parade of young kids we had through those woods, we actually got into some turkeys. And one day, I cannot remember exactly how we found this turkey, but we found a turkey gobbling in the middle of the day. So automatically, you find a turkey gobbling in the middle of the day.
Uncle Robbie's probably thinking, y'all go to the truck, I'll be right back.
But we, no, I tell you what happened. We were sitting there, and we had we wore out, we were taking a nap. And we wake up, and Uncle Robbie, he had a box cutter at the time, Primos box cutter. He yelps, and turkey, and it's like noon. And at the time, again, I didn't know how.
Were y'all all asleep? Because if y'all were, I'd have never woke you up.
Well, we were all up when the turkey gobbled. But you know how it usually goes when a turkey gobbles in the afternoon. Usually, it starts happening, and this turkey is coming. Like, even in my young age, I remember going, "They're coming. The turkey's coming," because he's just steady getting closer. And then the thought crosses through my head now. We're all sitting there like. Probably all three of us would have been shooting at that turkey.
Who's going to shoot first?
Who's going to shoot? But, I mean, that turkey is there, like fast approaching. And then we were probably in the woods, probably 80 yards off of a big field that they had leased somebody to farm. And that turkey, I'm talking, I can hear his chest rattling when he's gobbling.
Ooh, that's when they close.
And then all of a sudden, I hear a Kubota tractor crank up in that field.
Oh, crap. Oh, God. How many times does that happen?
That was all she wrote. That was that never heard nor saw that turkey again.
Did y'all ever go back after him?
Yeah, but, I mean.
I'd have been scribbing, looking for somebody to check me out. To me, that's what gets me now, especially for us traveling.
Yeah.
When you go somewhere and you're there for like 5 days, and 3 days it rains, but the 2 days it don't, and on the 4th day you find them where they at, and you get on them, and you think, boy, if I had one more day, I'd kill them.
I pushed it like last year. I went hunting one morning, and we had to leave. I think we had to leave for somewhere, but there had been a turkey that had been on like 2 days in a row, and I was like, I've got to
on your
try.
place?
Yeah. I was like, the same place.
We were probably going to Texas or something.
Probably. But I was like, I've got to give him one more try, and I had literally like 20 minutes to hunt, and I had to leave. It didn't work. I didn't kill him.
Well, I'm for me, and you get all the questions about turkey hunting. Everybody's questions are all based around what to do to kill more turkeys. And then we're actually going to do a seminar at the NWTF this year. They wanted us she asked if we would do it on how to kill more turkeys, but I thought it would be interesting to do it on the mistakes that we turkey hunters make, because we all do.
Oh, yeah.
And the ones that make the same mistake twice are the ones that hadn't learned the first time, which is me and you and everybody else.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that's going to be fun. And being able to hear from other people. That's what I love about those seminars and the way we do them at the NWTF is everybody's involved. Y'all walking around together and having a good time and laughing and joking. And, Jimmy, I told Jimmy the other day, because he's a part of that seminar, I said, we're doing a seminar on turkey hunting and the mistakes we turkey hunters make. He says, well, I don't need to do that seminar because I don't make any, as Jimmy would know,
I got footage that says otherwise.
You've been lucky and blessed now to have been doing this for 6 or 7 years, work business wise. Turkey hunting as a whole, if you had to pick a region, I don't want to say a state, but a region to turkey hunt in, that's your favorite region, north, south, east, or west, which one would it be?
This is going to sound boring, maybe, or redundant, but I'd have to say southeast, because no matter how evil our turkeys are, and they are evil, I love hunting at home.
Yeah.
I love hunting in West Alabama, and I love, love, love South Florida.
South Florida is hard to beat.
Yeah, it is.
It's a different me. I'm a Western guy.
Yeah.
I love New Mexico, Colorado.
Yeah.
Montana, Wyoming. I love those states that are, I don't know, to me, it's really just something about those Merriams. Not just the Merriam itself, but that whole region, whether it be Kansas, whether it be Nebraska, whether it be South Dakota, even up north into more Merriam country. But that part of the world, and I don't want to say it's easy, because it's...
Really?
Come on in, Brad.
Really?
We doing this live.
Yeah. It's live casted. Where my keys at? They're in the truck, in the wrap truck, stuck in the side of the door.
On this one here?
On the driver's side, the closest one you walk out the door.
Tell everybody live I said what up.
You left your keys, Holmes?
And he picked them up for me. Huh?
Where were they?
Keys to Chula. That Chula.
Oh, I got you.
Back to our podcast. Thanks for interrupting, Brad. Can't have nothing.
Yeah. Me personally, I'm a Western guy.
Yeah.
I love going out west. And the reason I do is because I've already spent a whole turkey season here. Our turkey season is pretty much done, if not done.
True.
It's hot. The mosquitoes are bad. And you go out there, and chances are it could be snowing. It could be nice and cool. And it's like starting spring all over again at that time of the year.
Yeah.
I like it up there. I never forget years ago, one of the things that were a shocker to me was the very first time I ever hunted in New York.
See, I want to do that.
I went with Dick Kirby. And,
Never done that before. Are y'all 5 years old?
4.5.
I'm trying to do this. Brad and Slade have walked through us recording this thing 3 times now, and they're going to come back through.
Slade works here, but Brad don't.
But he can stay not working here. He can go on.
The thing that amazed me about, and I was very skeptical about hunting New York.
Mm-hmm.
And the first time I ever went up there and hunted in New York, went goose hunting.
Yeah.
With Dick Kirby years ago when I was working at Mossy Oak, and he invited me to come back and turkey hunt. Well, where we goose hunted versus where we turkey hunted wasn't even close. So my mind's thinking where we goose hunted. And goose hunting, we were up high, up on top, and look at all this stuff. What are you like coming in here and just taking stuff and leaving?
Did y'all get everything you needed this time?
Somebody smells like fertilizer. Y'all been spraying fertilizer or something?
We'll be back.
Brad smells like perfume.
I can remember way back when I worked at Mossy Oak, one of the coolest places I've ever been in. I was skeptical about going, but was more intrigued about what it was going to be like was up in New York State in the Catskills.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible amount of turkeys in that state.
Mm-hmm.
And the hardest gobbling easterns outside, I'm going to say even more harder gobbling and stronger gobbling than Missouri turkeys.
Really?
Oh, man, it's just incredible. And I didn't know what to expect because the first time I ever went to New York, I went with Dick goose hunting. And we were goose hunting. I guess you would call it up. They called it up on top. Basically, you were in the high country and big on top of big ridges and stuff, and you big open green bean fields. And we were goose hunting up there and didn't see many trees. And when he brought me back up there to go turkey hunting, and the first morning we went out, and it almost, and you've hunted in this area in and around Tennessee and Kentucky, around Nashville and stuff like that. It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
Big high ridges, lots of timber and valleys and just absolutely incredible, and just the gobblingest turkeys you ever wanted to be a part of. And it's been many years since I've been back. I went back after that trip about 4 years later with Preston Pittman, and we hunted Pennsylvania and New York. Pennsylvania was a little different.
Yeah, I've hunted Pennsylvania once. I ain't claiming to be an expert.
Lots of people.
Lots of people.
Lots of people. We hunted public land, and
oof.
I never forget, we were sitting there yelping this turkey, and he was gobbling. We was with Paul Rochelle, who used to own the Bears Den. It was a sporting goods store there in PA. And I can hear something coming behind us, and I'm filming Preston. And I told Preston, I said, I think one's coming up behind us. I turn around, it's a guy. And he comes walking up, and he looks at me, he goes, just keep yelping, he's coming. And he moves over about 40 yards and sits down, points his gun in the direction the turkey's coming. Preston and I got up and left, and I said, I don't think that's going to work. But it's to me, for what we do and the blessing of doing this for a living and getting to turkey hunt all over the country is the friends that we've made over the years. Mm-hmm. Places are one thing that they kind of set off your memory bank just a little bit, but it's the people.
Yeah.
And us turkey hunters seem to have everything in common when you get to talking about turkey season. Deer hunting can change it a little bit, but turkey hunters, man, it's a motley crew. It really is.
It's a common thread you can find.
It is.
That's what you get, like you said. It's like you can tell somebody right off the bat that's been bit by it.
Oh yeah.
And usually you can get along with that person really well, unless they're trying to hunt the spots that you hunt.
Yeah, unless they find out you trying to sublease out from underneath them or something on a property.
Ooh-wee. Man.
Where's Jordan at?
I think he had to take Brindley to the doctor
he had to take
or
the
something.
baby to the doctor.
He had to go
right.
home and take a nap.
Nah, you don't believe that.
I don't.
You know where he's at.
I don't believe anything he says.
He's scouting for turkeys.
Probably so.
That's exactly where he's at.
He had that hard go at season in Mississippi last year, so he wants to get ahead of the game.
Well, you heard what he said. It was last year in when we were in Texas. So if you go and watch on Truth About Hunting on it's probably going to air in about 2 weeks. It's a turkey episode, and Jordan seems to be extremely wore out, and we're not even 3 weeks into turkey season or something like that, and he's already talking about he was up like 40-something days or whatever. And I'm like,
he always does.
That's
that.
your own fault.
He
get up
always
every
does it.
single morning when you don't have to get up. But it's like we talked about in the beginning. If it's turkey season, you feel like you got to get up.
Well, there's something about Jordan when he tells you those kind of stories too, and I would say this if he was sitting right here because I have before. Like if Jordan gives you a number, like I've been up 40 days. Like probably cut that number in about a third, and
Really?
that's the actual number.
So he was up 12 days.
Yeah, that's about something like that'd be a lot more accurate. Because other than that, you're like.
So where are you kicking it off first? We're gonna go to Florida.
Florida, South Florida.
Y'all did good that last
6th.
year.
Yeah, it's a cool place. It's a cool place. The turkeys were. They acted like it was late, which is kind of what we ran into a lot of the places. But yeah, we didn't start seeing turkeys until like the end of our trip. Until then, I remember it was like our first or second afternoon there. We were sitting on it wasn't a field per se. It was just kind of where a big road ran through it, and then there was like a hammock, and it just kind of was a little bit of an open spot right there.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just sitting there for the afternoon trying to mainly just kind of get an idea, maybe roost a turkey. These two longbeards come walking by us like 60 yards. We yelped to them. They looked at our hen decoy. They just went, oh. Okay.
Kept going.
And they just kept walking. We were like, well, that's not good. And by the end of the trip.
How late in the day was it? Was it pretty late?
No, it's probably 3 or 4 o'clock.
Oh, that's early. I've seen them do that in the afternoons when they're on their way to the roost, and you just can't turn them around if they got a specific place they're going. But
yeah, no, they were just kind of doing their thing, and but by the end of the trip, it started picking up. You could see it starting to happen, but
well, for them two kind of turkeys like that, especially in Florida, you can shoot them with a rifle in Florida.
You can.
Yeah.
We thought about it, but we didn't do it. we didn't. It didn't get that bad.
I'll get you, buddy.
Thankfully, yeah, it started to turn on there at the end.
Well, Florida is the beginner. And from Florida, it kind of gets hectic right after that. And it don't take long either. By the time first week of April rolls around, everybody's turkey season is open in the United States. It's out west to late April, and it's like trying to catch the rut in 48 states all at the same time. Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah. Have fun.
Yeah.
Knock it out.
Two things you got to have if you want to start turkey hunting. Good job and a good wife. You'd probably lose both of them.
If you ain't careful. You're going to lose a lot of sleep either way.
Oh, gosh, man.
You just got to count.
Bags. It's funny. We should take pictures. You know how they do those on TV in those commercials? They take a picture of you like when you first start a diet, and then they take you like 6 months later. We need to do that. Take a picture of all of our faces at the day turkey season opens, and then take another picture the day turkey season closes, and see how bad we look. And big bags under the eyes, and
come home looking homeless and depraved of sleep and food.
Scratches across your cheek from the briars because you're trying to crawl through briars to get to that turkey that won't come around the other side. And it's crazy. It's crazy, but I wouldn't trade it for nothing. No,
absolutely not. And that's why today is a good day. We got to break in the podcast topic on this, and for the next few weeks, months, actually, this is what we're going to be thinking about. So I think that's enough for today. Like I said, next week we're going to do some pretty intensive turkey gear talk per se.
You know what you ought to do?
What's that?
To really mess with Jordan.
I would love to know.
Opening day or whatever the first day is, it gets to hunting in Mississippi at his place, and he finds a turkey that he's really excited about. Tell him you want to do a live podcast during the hunt.
Oh no, he would have flashbacks from last year. He's still not forgiving me for that. We went to a spot that I had because we did a live podcast that morning.
Yeah,
I killed a turkey. He was with me. We got on another turkey. It was just one of those mornings. Dang near killed the second one, and it went off, and who knows if we could have killed him. And if you ask Jordan says, oh, we would have killed him. We would have killed him. And I was like, dude, we got to go. Like, we have a live podcast in 45 minutes, and this, where we're at right now, 30 minutes away from the office. Like, we got to go. Not counting the time we got to walk back to the truck.
And you ain't got no electricity.
Yeah. So
you need to get a 12-volt system.
I was like, we got to go. And so I
Was
heard
he mumbling, grumbling the whole way?
You kill a turkey and we get to leave as soon as you kill one. You don't let me kill one. I'm like, we have to go. Like, I'm not electing to leave the turkey woods. We got work to do.
Well, the good thing about not killing a second turkey in that day, and you already got on him, he's going to be there tomorrow. So it gives you the opportunity to lose sleep, which is going to happen.
Yep.
Probably not go to bed.
Yep.
And then get up the next morning and rack your brain about what am I going to do different to see if I can't kill this turkey.
Yeah. We went the very next morning to the same spot. We didn't hear a single turkey gobble. You want to think I got an earful that morning? If we stayed
He should have blamed it on him. He should have said, well, you shouldn't have parked where you parked. You probably drove right under him.
If you would have stayed here yesterday, we would have killed him. But no.
He wants to kill them all, huh? It reminds me of Benny Prince when it comes to ducks. Benny wants to kill 10 ducks fly in the hole. He wants to kill all 10 of them.
Oh, anyhow. So, guys, I think that's going to wrap us up for this week. I hope y'all enjoyed it. And like I said, look forward to it because for the next few weeks, months, however long we can chase spring, this is what we're going to be talking about is gobbling turkeys. So, as always, also, topics, questions, send them in Primos Facebook page. You can send them in Primos Facebook or Instagram page. You can send them to my Instagram page if you need to. Doesn't matter. One way or the other, they will get looked at. So that is it for today. As always, thank you for listening to the Speak the Language podcast.